biggest mistake that anybody, well, let's say that there are two big mistakes that somebody makes while being interrogated. Number one is by participating in the interrogation in the first place. That is a giant, horrible, horrible mistake for a person to make. To agree to be questioned by a police officer in any context, but absolutely for sure back at a police station. Number two big mistake, which is connected to the first big mistake, is truly just believing that the government is going to be convinced by anything you have to say. If they're contacting you and they want you to come in and talk to them about what it is you're suspected of doing, there's a very good chance, I would say nearly overwhelming chance, that they've already decided what they're going to do. Okay? And they're not going to be convinced by anything you have to say. But they're trained to make you believe that they will be. They actually all take a training that's called the Reid method of interrogation that was taught in the Chicago area by a gentleman last name of Reid. This particular method of interrogation resulted in who knows how many false confessions because it's so effective at getting people to admit things. But the key part of the way it works is you let the person know that there's absolutely no doubt that you did this thing, and then they toss you a life raft basically and say, but maybe if it was done this way, it's okay, you're not a bad person. And it's a very good technique to use. It works very, very well. But the big mistake people make when they go into one of those meetings is thinking, I'm going to convince them. I didn't do this thing. I'll tell them my version, and they're going to decide to go for me. They're not. Don't do that. If you get contacted by a police officer wanting you to come in for an interview, the first thing you do is call. If you're in our area, you call us. If you're not in our area, call somebody else. Call a criminal defense lawyer and get their advice. They're going to tell you, no, 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 no. So call a lawyer if you get contacted by the police. Most people think that if they call a lawyer or if they don't go in for the interview or if they don't call the guy back, then it's going to make them look really, really, really guilty. But what they don't recognize, what they don't know, is they're protected by the Constitution in this state and in this country that says you have an unmitigated, untrammeled, unlimited right to not speak to the government. And for that not to be held against you in court, and not held against you in court means that a jury is never told and could not be told of the fact that you didn't go in for an interview, that you hired a lawyer, that you broke a scheduled meeting. All that is not told to a jury, because if it was, they would likely penalize you for not going in, right? They would think you were guilty. But you do not, they can't be told about that. It is protected. It's a right that you have. Use it.